Mara did not mean to keep the cat. It appeared 3 days after she moved into the house. A black cat. Thin. Rain-soaked. Waiting on the porch as though it already lived there. When she opened the door, it walked inside without hesitation. No fear. Just certainty. The cat surveyed the house once, then disappeared down the hallway. Mara found it an hour later, sitting perfectly still, staring at a small wooden crawlspace door beneath the stairs. It did not move when she called. It simply watched. Eventually, she named him Finch. Finch followed her everywhere. To the kitchen while she made coffee. To the couch while she read. Even to the bathroom door while she showered. At night, he slept curled against her legs, and every night at exactly 2:13 a.m., he left, without fail. Mara would hear his paws moving softly down the hallway. Then silence. Then the faintest growl from beneath the stairs. The first few nights she ignored it. Old houses made strange noises. Cats were strange creatures. That was explanation enough. Then the objects started appearing. A faded ribbon. A cracked crayon. A friendship bracelet made of cheap plastic beads. Every morning something new waited outside her bedroom door. Each object looked old, forgotten. Like something rescued from the bottom of a box nobody had opened in years. Mara assumed Finch was finding them in the crawlspace. It made sense, until the photograph appeared. She found it lying neatly on the floor beside her coffee mug. The image showed a little girl sitting on a swing. Dark hair. Red sweater. A shy smile. Someone had folded the picture so many times the edges were nearly white. On the back, written in faded pencil, were 3 words. My best friend. Mara turned the photograph over several times. She had never seen the girl before. Yet something about her felt familiar. Not recognizable, just sad. That afternoon she asked around town. The house was old. Someone always knew something about an old house. Most people remembered the previous owners. A retired couple. Before them, another family. Before that, a foster home. The woman at the Historical Society frowned when Mara mentioned the address. There was a girl. Mara leaned forward. What girl? The woman hesitated. I don't remember her name. A strange answer. Mara waited. The woman rubbed her temple. It's funny. I remember there was a girl, but I can't remember anything else. Not her face. Not her age. Not even her name. The memory slipped away whenever she tried to hold on to it. Mara left unsettled. That night, Finch was waiting by the crawlspace door before sunset. Watching. Guarding. The little wooden hatch sat beneath the stairs, painted shut decades ago. Its edges sealed with layers of old white paint. Mara knelt beside it. Finch immediately stood. His tail puffed. A low warning rolled from his throat. What's in there? She asked softly. Finch stared at her, then at the door, then back at her. For the first time since she'd found him, he looked torn, not frightened of what was behind the door. Protective, as if opening it might hurt someone he had spent years trying to keep safe. That should have been enough. It wasn't. The next morning, Mara found another photograph. This one showed the same little girl, sitting beside a black cat. The girl's hand rested gently on its back, both staring directly into the camera. On the back, Finch. Mara froze. The photograph had to be decades old. Yet the cat in the picture looked exactly like Finch. Same black fur, same torn left ear, same watchful eyes. Impossible. And somehow undeniable. That night she stayed awake. At 2:13 a.m. Finch climbed from the bed. As always. He walked down the hallway. Mara followed. The crawlspace waited in darkness. Finch sat before it, watching. Then something happened. A soft sound. A knock. From the other side. 3 slow taps. Finch immediately pressed himself against the little door, purring softly, not at Mara, at whatever was inside. Then came a voice. Small, fragile, barely louder than breathing.
Is someone there?
Mara felt every hair rise on her arms. The voice was a child's. Not angry, not threatening, just hopeful. Finch purred louder. The voice fell silent, then quietly asked,
Is that you, Finch?
The cat stopped. For a moment, the entire house seemed to stop. The voice continued.
I knew you'd come back.
Mara could not move, could not speak. The voice sounded lonely in a way that hurt to hear. Not frightening, heartbreaking.
How long has it been?
No answer, only silence. Then,
Did they remember me yet?
Mara swallowed. Her throat felt tight. Who are you? The voice did not answer immediately. When it finally spoke, it sounded confused, as though the question itself made no sense.
I'm Emma.
A pause. Then,
Who are you?
the house felt suddenly very cold. Mara looked at Finch. The cat had stopped purring. He sat with his nose pressed against the wood, waiting, like he'd done this many times before. Mara whispered, Why are you in there? The silence that followed seemed endless. Then Emma answered, softly, almost apologetically.
I got scared.
Another pause.
There was a storm.
A longer pause.
I was hiding.
Mara felt sick. The voice continued.
I thought they'd come after dinner.
The hallway felt smaller, the darkness deeper. Mara closed her eyes and suddenly understood. Not every child who is forgotten on purpose. Sometimes people move away. Sometimes records get lost. Sometimes memories fade. Sometimes the world simply keeps turning, and someone gets left behind. The voice spoke one last time, very quietly.
So many people lived here.
A pause.
They never saw me.
Mara looked down at Finch. The old cat remained beside the door, still keeping watch, still remembering. After all these years. Then Emma asked,
Will you remember me?
Mara felt tears gathering in her eyes. Yes. For the first time, the little voice sounded happy. Not excited. Not relieved, just less alone.
Good.
A long silence followed. Then Emma whispered.
I was starting to disappear.
Finch closed his eyes and rested his head against the door, as though he had been waiting his whole life to hear someone say yes. Mara looked down at the photograph still resting in her lap. For a moment she frowned. Something had changed. The little girl was no longer sitting alone on the swing. Someone sat beside her now. The figure was blurry, almost impossible to make out. But the sweater looked familiar.